Happy Wednesday, y'all. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. I'm Jimmy. We do this every single Wednesday night in an ideal scenario. Every single Wednesday night where I'll come on and we will talk gear, drink drinks, be merry, talk tone, talk current events. And if you are from the American South, we'll probably sweat just a little bit. Today, I'm joined by myself, this 1967 Yamaha, I always forget the name of the model, Yamaha something. I think it's like a SA something or whatever, I don't know. Cool guitar, has really unique sounding pickups, and a surprisingly stable bridge. Charlie, my old buddy and my old pal, is asking what's in the glass, though. This is a margarita. Plain Jane margarita, because it's hot. How's everyone doing? I just recently came back from vacation. I spent 5 days in Orlando going to Disney World with my daughter, my middle daughter, and my older brother. We did an evening on Thursday night, a night after hours, Disney after hours at Epcot. Friday, we did it's already a blur. Friday, we did a evening after hours thing at Universal Studios. And Sunday, we did Animal Kingdom. Yeah, Disney. I am all Disneyed out. I'm using you as podcast ambience for building fire. Oh, that's awesome. What are you building? Voki guitars? Assuming you're building guitars. I am on YouTube as well. If you guys want to hear this in glorious, full, illustrious stereo. Nice. I've seen just a few. Gosh, I've seen some of your posts. Seem like cool guitars. Joshua Harris says, I'm currently sitting at my desk with my Helix on and my guitar in my lap. Nice. This is actually probably the first time I played guitar in a few days. It's been a while. Carlos, Casey, welcome. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. Yeah, it's the first time I played guitar in a while. Steven Estrada, welcome, man. Oiling necks, dude. Oiling necks is tough. I years ago I did a kind of like a DIY Strat project, and man, finishing the neck was like the most the most annoying part of like the whole process. Like I had a friend who built guitars on the side, and I was like, hey, so what do I need to do about like finishing the neck and everything? He's like, well, what you need to do is you need to basically, sand it down, finish it, do all the kind of stuff until it's like perfect, until you think that there's nothing else you could do, right? And then he's like, and then you got to do some more, and then you keep going, keep going. Oh yeah, it was a time. May or may not be counting down the days for my in-law sleeves. I can get my desk set up back. Dude, I know that feeling. I love my parents and all them in-laws. They're great people, but man, when they're here, I'm ready. Lopez Party says, play some Polyphia at least. Nah. I've had most of my amps in the shop actually. My AC30 has been at my amp tech, Jake over at Steamboat Amps, and my AC30 has been over there too. So I've pretty much been limited to Helix Native for the last little while. Yeah, we're just we're hanging out here, playing through some sounds. LVX, H90, and Mercury X, as expected, as per usual. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be dope, Voki. Yeah, I'd love to check them out. Lopez said, hey, Jimmy, can you describe what the Clubman is good at? I'm looking to get one to pair with my Chieftain or Chimera. Yeah, I mean... So the Clubman is an EL34. It's a 35 watt amp, EL34 bass power section, but the preamp section has an EF86 in it. So it has a little bit more gain than a normal 12AX7. You can kind of think of it like, so I've heard people say Vox meets Marshall, but I think it's more like Marshall meets Vox, if that makes any sense. When you drive the amp, it is it's a lot more it tends to have a lot more like grind, like a plexi would. It's a bright amp as well. Yeah, it's a very bright amp, or can be a very bright amp. I mean, but it's a great sounding amp. It's not an AC30. It's not like a Vox style amp. That's what people are thinking. Sam McCabe, welcome to Wednesday Night Live. Sam is a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. You probably know him through his music because his music's dope. But he's also a low-key gym partner because we work out at the same gym. Does it compress too much for P&W? What do you mean by that? Technically, anything can be used for praise and worship. I mean, it's a punchy sounding amp. It's not crazy. So okay, let me phrase that. So when I say that it has more gain, what I mean by that is the input is super super sensitive. Like I use the low input because the top input is super super sensitive, and I was talking to someone about it today. I run my Clubman with the master volume up all the way, and then I basically just ride the actual volume channel gain until it's kind of about where I want it to be. I typically run my amps a little hotter than edge of breakup. Hold on a second. I'm gonna turn my fan on a little higher. Sorry about that. It is hot in here. My studio is freaking warm. I got so much stuff here. Steve Estrada said, "What's in the cup?" It's a margarita. It's a margarita. That's what it is. But so yeah, I mean, Lopez. Back to the whole thing of the matches that compress too much. I mean, all mattresses are really sensitive amps, and so it's not gonna be like a. I don't know. I don't really know exactly what you mean by does it compress too much. Vicandid. Oh my gosh, I'm running. Vicandino. Wow, that was hard. I'm sorry. Said, trying to start memorizing songs and play with that sheet music. Any tips? Yeah, I mean, so ear training is probably the most important thing. I think, especially if you're part of a team, or I mean, honestly, as a musician in general, memorize stuff. It sounds pretty elementary, but yeah, memorize stuff. Learn stuff like the back of your hand. I always like to learn the parts exactly on any given song, and so I have access to our church's multi-tracks, and so I'll take the songs, go through multi-tracks, actually listen to the parts isolated, and kind of go from there. That's how I like to play. That's how I like to learn songs, learn parts. And from there, once I have it kind of mastered, if that makes any sense, then I'll kind of go from there and add my little flair to it. Oh yeah, I mean, Steve Travis also said learn the number system too. I mean, in some ways, I guess I'm assuming the number system is maybe I'm assuming that it's already known, Tonight I'm using my Dotted Eighth digital delay, the J-Rig Tri-Chorus on my H90, and I'm using my Cloud-ish 2 preset. Cloud-ish. And honestly, I only made that just because everyone kept asking me about the cloud. Cloud. Like, couldn't do the cloud. I'm like, sure. I mean, it's not a big sky. But it can definitely do stuff that's similar. So this is let me go back to Cloud 1. I have a little bit of movement in the verb. This is my cloud 2. A little hotter. David Yossi, welcome. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. Lopez Prado says, does the Mercury X do dual reverb? In terms of like two algorithms going into each other, no. Steve Estrada said, I just finally put the LVX on the board. Can you share some tips on what's most important on the LVX? Like a preset from scratch? What are you going for to set first? Actually, so the very, very first thing I do with the LVX is I change the visual view of it so that it is I'm not a fan of the graphic view. If that makes any sense. Basically like you know, the bubbles and all that kind of stuff. Not a fan of it. It's creative and it's cool. It's a different way to interact, but I like seeing things linearly. So the first thing I do is I go to the global settings and change it from graphic view to, I think, text view or text view edit or text edit view or something like that. That's the very first thing I do on both of them. And what that does is that gives me a kind of standard linear left to right view of all the things that's in it. And you use the encoder that's directly to the right of the screen on both pedals to go left and right to access all the different sounds and effects and parameters that you can change. In terms of creating a preset from scratch, I have a YouTube video doing that exact same thing. So if you want to check out my YouTube video or check out my YouTube channel, I have I did a video where I create like a standard basic delay and a standard basic reverb on both the LVX and Mercury X. My goal was to kind of eliminate the what's the word I'm thinking of? A lot of people who get them, they all kind of seem to be like afraid or like nervous at first, saying, "Oh, it's too much." Like no, it's a standard reverb pedal. You can do pretty much anything you want with like the few knobs. In fact, I posted a question the other day. Didn't really get much traction on the response or answer end, but it was like, what's like, what was the question? It was basically like questions about like the Mercury X and LVX user interface compared to like the Timeline and Big Sky. What do you look for? Obviously, they're different in the sense that, you know, the Timeline and Big Sky have traditionally always had that one encoder that goes between your effect types. And then you have just a few parameters that you can adjust from there. Whereas the Mercury X and LVX, the way you interact with the algorithms or structures, as they're called, you have to basically go to the first set of menus first before you can do that. But apart from that, I mean, it's basically the same. You have, on the Mercury X, you have decay, pre-delay. You have 2 assignable parameters you can change. Big Sky had the same thing too. Then modulation. The Big Sky had a tone control on it, which you could technically assign to one of the parameter controls. So I'm not trying to imitate it. It was just someone said, "Hey, can it do a cloud?" And this is kind of something that I created. Actually, pretty normal reverb that I would have used before would have been Gravity. This is my JRA Grav 1. The interesting thing about Gravity is that no matter what, you kind of have this effect of like things in the stereo field kind of going back and forth. in terms of how it diffuses. It's kind of cool, but not every but you don't necessarily want that kind of movement every single time. You know, like if you were doing like a strike, it's still cool. Sometimes you just want like a wash, and that's why I created Cloud, Cloudish. Lopez Prado, do we share presets? Yes, it's on my go to my bio. I have a Linktree account with Dropbox link. Avid Design Creative said, "Oh gosh, sorry man, I'm so tired today." Avid Design Creative said, "I never had the Big Sky, but I have the timeline in Mercury Rex and just love the Maris UI. The speed at which the setting moves, the screen show multiple settings, look at ones. I think Maris UI is better." I mean, I agree, 100%. I agree. David Yossi said, "I'm not sure what it is particularly about the Maris interfaces that I can't stand, but it might just be that there's more tweaking of the algorithms that I want or ever need. There's too many menus." Well, I mean, so too many menus. I still think that that's kind of a relative thing, because it's like you don't need to access them if you don't want to. You really don't need to. Like, you need to access them once to know if you want to use them or not. You know. So the reason why I asked the question about the user interface is because I want to revamp my presets, because I'm giving them to y'all for free, right? And I want to be like, okay, well, what's most important to a Big Sky user who's moving to Mercury Rex, or a LVX user who's moving to, or a timeline user who's moving to the LVX, right? Because I think the user interface is simple. Like, you don't need to go deep into all the things. Like, if you want like one of the assignable controls to be like a general purpose tone control, then yeah, I'll just set it to like a filter or a tilt EQ, you know. And if you want the other one to be like maybe you want just like a general tape, or like a general quarter note delay and dotted eighth delay, whatever, and you want one of the controls to go through tape, digital, and bucket brigade, go ahead. Sure. I mean, we can do any and all that. It's not that hard. I think, and I was thinking about it the other day, I think the problem that people are having is that they see the available options that you can change, and that gets overwhelming because they feel like they have to justify the $600 cost, when you don't need to. You don't, like, you can just get great sounds by literally just going through hall verb, room reverb, prism, gravity. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's kind of what I'm getting at. Which of your presets do you use the most? I'm going to look at them right now. I use all of them. I really do use all of them. Right now it's gravity. Steve Estrada says, "Yeah, I have the MX timeline and both Maris bottles. I can't stand scrolling the knob through 60 menus." Here's the thing: you don't need to. Figure out what you want to be controlled on those front and bottom two knobs, and assign them. Assign them when you save the preset. That's how it works. I'm also super sad that on the LVX you can't use USB-C and have to use MIDI. Yeah, I mean, so they spoke publicly about that. The reason why they didn't do MIDI over USB, apparently, this is according to them, and I have no real reason to not believe it because of the quality of their stuff. What they said is they used all of the processing power available on the ARM chips that they put into the pedals, and they did not have the ability to do, and they did not have any additional processing power to add USB MIDI. MIDI over USB functionality. That's what they said. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, the Eventide H90 is just killer in that regard. You plug in USB-C cable, shows up immediately on your computer, you're good to go. But yeah, I get it. Anyways, back to presets. So Lopez, which presets do you use the most? Like I said, I mean, just try them all and see which ones you like. Just like I said, this is my Gravity 1. It's kind of a warm. To me, it sounds warm. Quite a bit of modulation on it as well. Gravity 2. It's actually a little warmer, but it has a little bit more to the signal chain. Sorry. Yeah. Let me see for the app Predator. So I mean, let's be real too. Like their Predator app is it. We're all kind of very impatiently waiting for it to come out for Mercury X as well. See, David Yossi said, "I've had them all. Just moved back to Big Sky MX from Mercury X. Maybe it's just that I'm used to the Strymon UI form." Yeah. Oh, for sure. Totally get it. The thing is for me is I moved away from the Thailand and Big Sky to the Volante and Night Sky a few years before the LVX and Mercury X came out. So I had already been kind of disconnected from that user interface world. Kaniwo Sound says, "Hey Jimmy, I was wondering, do I absolutely need a buffer for my pedal board?" I don't think you do. Well, let me phrase that. As a general, speaking to the ethos, I don't think it's necessary to get one. The way I always kind of think of things I'm going to buy is like, can I talk myself out of it? And how often can I talk myself out of it, right? If I can talk myself out of it a bunch of times, then I don't need it, but if I keep coming back to it, I'm like, oh, it's constantly on my head, it's constantly on my mind, constantly thinking about it, blah, 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 then it might be worthwhile for me to get. But I don't really think it's necessary unless you have a reason to get it. If you have a bunch of true bypass pedals in your board, or if you have a bunch of true bypass pedals and it's literally just one to the other, then having a buffer will probably be nice, or some kind of interface like the Vertex pedal board buffer interface type thing that has in, send and return, send and receive, and then a stereo out. That kind of solves that solves a few problems. That solves the problem of needing to be able to place. Solves a few problems of like where your cables go. Little simple things like that, as well as the buffer potential issue. I have a switcher with my Mastermind PVC, which has buffers in it, so I didn't need a dedicated buffer pedal. It's not going to hurt your sound to have it. It's also not going to hurt your sound to have a bunch of them in a row. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Opus Party said, try Unipedal if you can. Helps with my signal quite a bit. Yeah. So the unit also is not like a standard like plain, clear, transparent buffer type thing. It definitely adds something. It adds something that's kind of cool too. David Yoss said my gravity settings were. Mwah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of comments about pedals having buffers in it. Volante was pretty cool. Avid Design Creative. Subbuffers have a secret sauce. Yeah. I mean, the goal of all these buffers and everything is to, allow your, basically maintain some strength on your signal, right? So if you have pedals to do it, like say for instance, if you have like a a boost pedal, or like the Solidala Storm, which was created for like a buffer, a signal booster, or maybe you do wireless, then yeah, then you definitely need some kind of a buffer. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying the same thing you're saying, Steve. Preamp EQ pedals with the RC booster do the same thing. El Cap V2 is my jam. Volante also. Yeah, so I never had a El Capistan. I just went right to the Volante. But yeah, the Volante was awesome. I loved it. I loved it, and I still have it. It's right there. I just haven't used it in a while. Lopez said, have you compared the El Cap V1, V2? Want to upgrade to MIDI, but I'm not sure if the sound will change too much. I mean, I don't know. Forward to getting my amps back. I think this sounds fine, but it's not what I'm used to. Lots of talking on the chat about the Volante. Yeah, here's the thing. If the companies don't say they changed something about like the signal structure, like if they added something to the input, a JFET or something like that or whatever, then dude, these people they're being lame. We do need Merits to come out with the Mobius killer. You think so? This is the weird thing, man. I don't know what they would do in that space, you know? Like, if they're going to come out with a third pedal, what would that be? I don't know. I really have no idea. We can speculate. Y'all speculate. What do you think they're going to come out with next? David, I brought my AC30 and my matchless to the shop just for general purpose, you know. Have a look at it. H90 is a Mobius killer. Yeah. The weird thing about the Mobius is like, until the Bethel guys started using it, it honestly wasn't that popular of a pedal. Can I get the Destroyer on the H90? Okay, so what is the Destroyer? I've never owned a Mobius. Is it like a tape modulation? Is it a, I don't know. Is it a, I really have no idea what the Destroyer is. Lopez, what AC30 do I have? I have a what is it? 1990 30th anniversary Rose Morris AC30. Lopez said Mobius is pretty whack. Like I said, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so Avid Design Creative said, I'm not sure the Mobius has a market as much anymore, and I have one. The HX1 can do Mobius things, but cheaper and with IR stuff. That's a great point. That is a great point. Honestly, when the Mobius came out, I remember a lot of my guitar friends were like, why do we need a modulation multi-effect? Right? I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, talk about Destroyer. What is Destroyer? Like I said, because I've never owned one, so I can't really speak to it. These are the sounds I have on my H90. Destroyer does weird vinyl and filter things. Okay. This is my vibrato preset on the H90. Destroyer is a bit crusher. One of the songs that was used on was Reckless Love. Okay. This is also one of my other favorite presets on H90. Dual tremolo. It's kind of cool. You get this like stereo effect of two like separate speeds. But Bobby Strand used it a ton on like all the Bethel albums. Yeah. Steve said, I think Kenyon Reed did a video about the Destroyer setting. It's very unique. I wish they would come out with a small form pedal. Yeah, maybe. Oh, man. David Yoss said, I never owned a Mobius because it could not do pitch. Yeah. I love all the modulation abilities that the H90 has. Manuel Vasp, I think I'm pronouncing it right, said, general question, but where do you go from your rig? Do you feel like you're there, just variety of guitars in your set? I mean, so I don't have like an end goal with my setup. Like I kind of pursue inspiration and wherever the inspiration leads me or takes me. Just constantly looking for things that are inspiring me. Sometimes that's an amp, sometimes that's a pedal, sometimes it's a guitar, you know. But apart from that, I'm actually pretty gosh, what am I trying to say? I usually like to kind of stay with a thing once I find it. So yeah. Yeah, the bouquet or bucket, whatever they call it. It's a great delay on the H90. Let's see. This is a preset I made when I had multiple H90s. This is my, I loved the RV5 growing up. So I wanted a preset that sounded like an RV5. This was my, I realized that the RV5 was a very bright sounding reverb with a lot of modulation. Any gear coming out, been out for a little while. It's catching your eye. Oh man. Nothing. Well, in the guitar world, not really. In like the studio world, yes. It's live. Sorry, I'm going back and forth. I'm seeing some comments on YouTube. Max Headland. Yes, it's live. We're live. Hi. We are live. Oh, sorry. Going back and forth between Instagram and YouTube. Hold on a second. Let me fix something. Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, in terms of the guitar world, not really. I don't know. Nothing's really, I'm overall pretty content with what I have on in my rig right now. See, Manuel Vespa says, or Vasp says, Pope says he hates the brightness on the RE5. Yeah, okay. Good for him. I mean, granted, I'm not using an RV5 now. It was just a sound that I liked. I liked for when I was younger, right? I also think that having a bright reverb and a warm chord guitar tone is something that can work and it's kind of cool. Check the Chroma console for lo-fi ambient stuff. I just got mine. It's sick. You know what's weird is I do want to give the Chroma console a try, but I had a microcosm for like a week, and it did not do anything for me. It just didn't do anything for me. So yeah, I sold it back to the person who gave it to me. David Yossi, do you notice any latency with PC changes in your H90? I do not. I think I know what you're talking about, though. If your computer or iPad or whatever is connected to the H90 for like editing and stuff like that, then you will get latency. But as soon as you disconnect it or turn your iPad off or close the program on your computer, then there's no more latency. This is my POG interpretation. Granted, I don't really use it, but it's my POG interpretation. I call it warm oct. and how I would use it would be like probably like But honestly, the thing is, I don't. Let me rephrase that. I was gonna say I don't like the Pog. It's not that I don't like the Pog. It's just that, perfectly tracked octave sounds are a thing, and a lot of people use it. I like artifacts. Like I don't mind. Playing an octave. Rising Phoenix over on YouTube says, "Sweet guitar, man." Thanks, dude. It's a Yamaha something or whatever from the 60s. I still don't remember the name of it. Steve Estrada on Instagram says, "The Pog track's bad, in my opinion, unnatural." Here's the thing. What is an octave effect that's a digital effect? What does it mean to track naturally? Because no matter what, you're going to have latency. It's just a matter of, is the latency acceptable to you? To me, the latency on the H90 is acceptable. It's also better than the H9, which, we all know that. But yeah, I don't mind having artifacts, which is one of the reasons why I have the, H90 doing octaves after my drives. I kind of like the sound of drives going into like a pitch effect, creates extra harmonics. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's gnarly, and sometimes it's weird, and I'm fine with all those, Yeah, that's my warm octave sound. Which just sounds like this. Nothing crazy. After that, this is a sound I like a lot. It was a sound I found. Actually, did I find it? I don't remember if I found it or if I made it. Anyway, it's on my Dropbox. It's just a chorus, a compression EQ. So it's chorus with it's a EQ and a compressor going into a chorus. So it's kind of creating that 80s clean DI thing. Latency on the Luminary was incredible, said David. Favorite octave now is the one in the Quad Cortex. It's surprisingly really good. That's cool. That's funny. Oh, DI's been back. Yeah, I like the sound. It sounds really good on my baritone. Did a reel a few months ago. with like a low baritone part on Build My Life. And yeah, it was cool. It works. Sounds good. See what's after that. This is my big rotary sound for for praise. I made it because we were going to be playing in a set and then never played it. Yeah. Dave Jossie, H9 Preachers on your Dropbox, right? Yep, everything's on Dropbox. And if it's not there, then just shoot me a DM. I haven't actually updated them in a while, so. Do I take inspiration from The Cure? I mean, not really. I mean, I'm familiar with them. I know The Cure, but not a ton of inspiration from them. That's cool. What's next? After that, I have this preset called Liquid Sweetener, which is like a very, very, very low modulation. I think I actually found this one when I was looking for something that would sound like a Destroyer. Granted, I've never owned one, so I don't really know what to expect. But this is kind of a nice, subtle chorus. Will Chen, did you ever post Big Sky presets when you had one? No. I mean, it's been like 5 or 6 years since I had one, so no. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Yeah, I like that one. This one is that same Liquid Sweetener preset, but with an octave. This one's a lot brighter than the other one. I probably will change that one to have a little less harshness in it. Or maybe not. I mean, it works for like lead stuff, right? I had a comment on YouTube. Rising Phoenix said, "What's acoustic guitar you have in the background?" That was my dad's classical guitar. It hasn't been played in probably 15 years. There's missing strings. But it's a cool guitar to hang up. That's cool. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, everything else after that is just the initial preset. Yo, I love vibrato. It is such a cool sound. Especially when it's like... Yeah. Vibrato better than chorus. I mean, they're different. Obviously, I like mine. So me and Jake talked about this last week. I like vibrato with a triangle wave, and he likes it with a sine wave. To me, the triangle makes it a little bit more upfront and a little bit more abrasive, which I like. Granted, I have the mix of it down a little lower, so it's it's trade-off. Yeah, dude. It just does something, man. Especially if you have something that's like, let me see if I can find it. This is a cool sound. My dark shimmer. Plug a baritone in. I'm actually gonna hop off in a minute. I think I'm kind of tired. Yeah, I'll play out for the next 30 seconds or so, and then we'll hop off. All right, y'all. Have a great Wednesday night. I'll see you guys next week. Happy Wednesday, y'all.